Hey, hello everyone. We are live, French Vinyl Addict, on a on a special stream. It's a little bit earlier over here. It's like 3 p.m. on the eastern coast. It's 9 p.m. Yeah, the reason I'm doing this little bit stream. Hi, Vinyl Piper. Hey, hi there. Yeah, it's a little bit unusual. Stunty with will be joining my panel in any minutes from now. So yeah, and lots of European. I'm expecting to have more, like no more. Yeah, some German people from the vinyl community. We will be discussing Den Bosch. Den Bosch is a like big event, and we are quite a lot, lots of people from the VC. We are about to take a trip, including myself, to this biggest fair record show, whatever, the biggest pop-up store, record store. Yes, 700 vendors. It's huge. 4 days or 3 days. Yeah, in Den Bosch. So yeah, we have some expectations. We have some projects, and we will be discussing all the matters. Oh, hi Nick. We already have some people in the chat. Nick, Philippe, salut or hi. Claude, fellow member from the French vinyl community. Salut Claude. I will just don't know what happened to Stunty. Yeah, it's probably there is no rush. Yeah, we will maybe be doing like 1 hour or two discussing about then Bosch. I don't know if you guys are maybe um we'll be taking a trip. I know Claude, for instance. Claude will be in Den Bosch as well. Um, yeah, we have this French stream we do on Sunday, and on almost every Sunday except the past Sunday because we were like very very busy. I'm flying directly to Amsterdam myself, so if everything goes according to plan, maybe I will be in Den Bosch probably by the late middle afternoon, Friday. So I was asking several people from the German vinyl community if they can make themselves available for today's stream. Yeah, we will see. It's a little bit last minute. I wanted to host like very last minute, like tomorrow, but some people will already be traveling. So we had that discussion with Stanley yesterday, and it said, "Hey, it makes more sense to do a stream, today, so Tuesday." So salut Vibrasonic, another fellow member from the French VC. Christophe, salut Christophe and Christopher from Sweden. Hi, hey. Uh, yeah, yeah, it is, it is, and it's the first time I'm taking a trip since I started to buy vinyl records or to be a collector. It's the very very first time. Yeah, bonjour French VC. Yeah, and it's it's a little bit maybe it's a little bit different. No, in 20 2020 I was about, or I was planning to go to Utrecht back in days, but that COVID year, this was simply canceled. 2021 was a little bit difficult as well. Then I moved to Canada in 2022. So yeah, and this year I have a chance to take a trip to cross the Atlantic once again. I already been in France, Germany in last May, but I have the chance to take a trip once again. Yeah, I have several, as I said, one. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Whenever I take my trip, when I go to Germany, when I go to France, or when I even here when I cross the border, I'm not too far from Vermont, Burlington, Vermont. So when I'm like, okay, in the US, my want list, I have several want lists, so to say. When I'm in my home place in France, very close to Germany. Once again, I do have another one list. I know that there are certain certain copies, maybe more. I can find a little bit more easily. So this is the beauty when one have a chance to travel a lot, as I do. It's pretty. This is pretty interesting. But yeah. But hey, I will put a link if anyone wants to join. Uh, yeah, I asked Study, or we spoke over the phone, Study and myself, yesterday for about 2 hours, and he will uh, he will be joining us maybe soon. No worries. Bonsoir de Normandie. Yes, French guy who recently, commented on my channel. Bonsoir. Very nice to see you over here. So yeah, I do have a lot of European, because right now it's like 9 a.m. something in France. So not too late, as I usually stream on 7 or 8 o'clock over here. It's a little bit too late for the European. Now it's the perfect timing. Yeah, Barrington is very, very close. It's very like, yeah, 1 hour 30 minutes something. I like to go there. It's a small city. It's not Chicago. It's not Detroit. No question about that. But they are a few nice places where I usually go to. Um, I think downtown there is a store called Burlington Records. In Winooski, in the suburbs, another one called Autumn Records. They have a great jazz section, very decent. Japanese releases a jazz section, yeah, and so yeah, some others, and it's nice because Montreal has lots of places as well, but it's simply different. And as I grew up very, very close to two borders, Germany and Switzerland, um, it's some to me it's something like very natural, to have like your territory, pretty much around, but you're not too far from a completely other country when you can have found some other reference. And this is not only when you collect vinyl records. This is pretty much when you collect, I don't know, stamps or other stuff, baseball card. I don't know. Having the chance to be to live very close to another country territory, enlarge the spectrum, I guess. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I hosted on this very channel a stream last week with American Sam. Very, yeah, sorry, I have a bit of cold. Yeah, American Sam, and yeah, he was asking a very interesting question at the point, like, how did the fact that I have a VC channel, I follow the vinyl community, how did it impact on the way I discover new music, I buy new records, and yeah, I recently made a video about all these records I bought because because of you guys, because some people like hype records, or introduced show a record, showcase a record. So yeah, quite a lot of, and yeah, the want list. I can say maybe 80% of the one list, of the new of the references I that has been added to the list. Yeah, since for the past 12 months are because uh, records mentioned on VC channel or VC related content. So yeah, it yeah, yeah, WFMU. Yeah, yeah. I was talking about that with Dom, seeking a thread. So he came for a weekend. Yeah, in the summer we met Dom and I, and yeah, it was. I would have loved to go there as well. WFMU is it's maybe 7 hours drive from my place, but like it's like Den Bosch, and so I have to save some money. So maybe next year. Oh, interesting question. Um, this guy is asking me when I will be digging for records in Holland. Um, will I give a pride place to the European bands, or simply simply buying whatever I can find? Um, Interesting. Mm, as I said, I have a different want list. It's like it's probably if I would be like a wine lover. Uh, I wouldn't order the same bottle of wine in a restaurant in Italy as I would in Germany or in Australia, because I would love to find something local, something very common, part of the culture, although the local culture. Holland is a little bit different because Den Bosch is pretty international. So I will definitely not be being on the lookout for Canadian stuff or Quebec stuff, since I live in Montreal. So yeah, in the past 12 months, I was very fortunate to get a hold of several copies. I took the trip in the Gaspé Peninsula to see my friend Audiostope Le Disquaire, Sébastien, and I can find some 15 copies reference of the Pro Québécois. So yeah, it's not something I'm really keen or um, I do have plans. I There are some krautrock copies I would love to find there. To tell you the truth, when I took my trip in last May, in Alsace, yeah, we did cross the border several times. I met up with Timo Windelund at a small record fair in Karlsruhe. Then another time we did visit the city of Freiburg in the Black Forest. So I went to a couple of record stores there, and I could find some bands from the Brain label, Novalis, for instance, Grobschnitt, and yeah, all that kind of mainstream, yeah, maybe more classic rock. Jane, or is a classic rock band, but still Brain label. Really interesting Brain label, founded by these two members. So yeah, Gunther Kerbel and Bruno Wendel. And yeah, I was expecting a little bit more. To be honest, I was like really focusing on finding krautrock record once there, and yeah, it's never enough. So yeah, I will definitely krautrock will have a has a pride place on my want list in Den Bosch. Plus, there are a couple of vendors from South America, and yeah, I listen to lots of. I'm not listening to only prog rock. Pretty eclectic, I guess, and yeah, some reference like cumbia or from Argentina, rock nacional, uh, Chile. Very hard to find. Very hard. You can find on Discogs, but yeah, the postage fees or the shipment, it's like yeah, it's very expensive. So and There is this guy. I think there is this vendor from Chile, and he has some sought after South American pressings. Um, yeah, so yeah, really focusing on something. I'm sure I will. I know it's hard to find elsewhere, but yes, if I have a chance to find something like I've been on lookout for years. Hey, come on up here. Yeah, but yeah, no, it is a very clever question. So yeah, yeah, it is a very clever question. Yeah, who knows? Uh, the thing is, I won't be driving, so I do only have a suitcase, so I will not be able to buy as much records as someone who drive, who has some room in the car for sure. So yeah, no, I'm really looking forward. I do have a roadmap. I know about okay, where booth do I will visit first upon my arrival. Um, what are the booth I will swing by at the very late at the very end of the show, maybe on Sunday. Yeah, sure, sure. But here it's winter. It's really it's like very not very cold, but we had a very cool Indian summer, October, and nothing to complain about. And yeah, I was like surprised in a wrong way last week, not being not being dressed to yeah, only with a small t-shirt. Yeah, staying a little bit too long outside, and now it's like I'm paying the price. But yeah, what can we do? Hmm. At least FOMO seem to listen, but it's funny to see people. Yeah, I know you're a big crowd. Do you go to Den Bosch, Christopher? Because I know you're very or you have been to Den Bosch. Yeah, just asking the question. Okay, yeah, no worries. Take your time. Take your time. If anyone else wants to join, just just put a link in the into the in the chat. Yeah, yeah, he's in a. That's the beauty. I would love to have a sauna right now, but I choose the wrong northern country. Hey, salut Pinup. Salut. Hi Pinup. This guy Pinup, he's a composer. Uh, uh, you should check out his channel. He's very into experimental, ambient, stuff, but a great taste for music in general. And he recently dropped an album or music on his channel. Very. I still have to listen the entire, yeah, the in its entirety. But we all, yeah, we usually chat with Pinup every Sunday morning. He hosts some very interesting live stream. He does pretty much the same as I do on this very channel. He's a very young guy, as I said, and tries to bring people together around the table, like as I do. Wouldn't say he copy me. Wouldn't say I'm the model. Don't say that by any means. But he yeah, he tries to have people that come from several different background, and yeah, finding a sort of common ground. It's pretty interesting. And yeah, he's oh,
Hey,
hello.
how are you, dude?
Not too bad.
Can you hear me okay?
Uh,
Y-
once again,
Can you hear me okay?
I guess.
Okay, okay. All right. Um, Hold on, let me see if I can. Is that any better?
Uh,
Uh,
yeah, now it's better.
okay. All right, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my system is not like very abstract as well.
Yeah, I think I stupidly had something in front of the microphone.
No
So,
worries. No, it's
yeah.
it might comes from my end since I have these stupid ears, and it's something I paid like I don't know like $50 on JBL, and it doesn't work. So pretty, yeah.
What do you are you just on a laptop or a
Yeah, I have a laptop. This microphone connected with a USB cable, and so
what kind of mic is that? Is that a Shure or a
sure,
Rode?
sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Okay.
yeah, the thing made for a podcast.
Yeah, yeah,
Technically, I
yeah.
wouldn't need that. Could use the built-in microphone from my computer. But when
Yeah.
I started the channel, I had a bit a pretty much old machine, so a computer, and the sound was really crap. So I had to buy an external microphone, and yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I spent probably the first like 2 years, if not longer, um, using my old iPad, which was sketchy to say the least. I mean, I'd get up there, it'd look fine, and apparently people were just seeing me like glitching and
mm, mm.
and since I went out bought a new iPad and it seems to work much better. But I swear they make they purposefully make shit like this, obsolete so you have to buy more
Oh
like a
yeah,
phone or I mean that's given.
yeah. It's funny you say that, because sometimes on a rare occasion, I use my phone to
Yeah.
join the panel whenever
Yeah.
some guy does a stream, and it works. But my phone is like very. I bought this 3 months ago. It's a brand new Samsung, whatever. And Stunny, we were talking about that yesterday, and it was telling me that his phone is pretty old, like 5 years old, and he has an iPhone as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes it doesn't work when there are more than two people on the panel. Sometimes happens some glitch or lag or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah, it does seem like the more people especially that are up, um the more it can glitch out.
Yeah,
But I think like you're on StreamYard right now. So I
yeah.
like is StreamYard I know that StreamYard had this pretty big price hike. Um
Don't pay
and
for a.
but
Don't pay.
is that
Yeah, don't. I don't. I
that's
don't. Yeah, I use the basic, the free version, which has its boundaries, but it's fine for
and you can have 6 people on screen, right? For free.
yeah, yeah. I'm cannot have a full HD, like 1080p or K.
Oh, you don't
Uh,
need that though. I
yeah,
mean,
no,
just
it's
to
fine.
talk to people.
Exactly. Yeah. When we now it's not bad, but when I like alone on full screen, yeah, the definition is, but it's fine. We.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine.
I'm not
I mean,
Taylor Swift. Yeah.
but what I was trying to say in that comment was it's funny how and I've done this with Stunty where while we're on a live stream and somebody's talking about a particular record, and it's always one that's like, not necessarily in print. Um, and but Discogs has, X amount of them for sale. And there's obviously a certain pressing that you want to get of it from a certain, the drill. So
Yeah,
it's funny to check back and forth to see as the live stream goes on, they slowly disappear off of Discogs.
yeah,
So there's and Stunty, he is like, I've told him, I mean, Discogs should like put him on the payroll for all the all
yeah.
the new music that he introduces
Oh
to
yeah,
people. I
yeah,
mean, I would never hear of any of those bands or nor know where to look if it weren't for seeing Stunty
yeah.
show a lot of these
He does a
records.
he does a great job. I'm not
Oh, he's
saying
like,
that too much
yeah.
because I don't want his ego to be.
His ego's
I
out
love,
of control
I lo-
anyway.
yeah, I love Stunty.
I love the guy.
We talk behind the scene every freaking day. So it's, and, but
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. The effort he puts in, finding, hunting, finding, enjoying, sharing. Yeah,
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 yeah. I mean, I remember maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago, it was there was a famous cricket player that said he gets all of his record information and what to buy from Stunt Rock Confusion. Um,
this not the
and
cricket, not the cricket, a snooker player, Steve Davis.
oh, was that it? What's his name? I'm sorry.
Steve Davis, a snooker player from the UK. He's,
It's got to be him then. If
yeah,
if you know who I'm talking about, then
yeah. He will be traveling with this guy in Den Bosch,
oh, okay,
and
yeah, yeah, it's him then.
Steve Davis. He is a former snooker player in Britain. Now he has his DJ or music career, and he made an interview standing on his channel with Steve Davis. Um, Another guy. There were three peoples interviewed by Stunny. Steve Davis, the guy who's the now leader of Gong, the band Gong,
Yeah.
and another guy who used to be in with Coil. Yeah,
Oh,
very,
I remember that. I
yeah,
do remember that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Very interesting interview.
yeah. Um, there's. It seems like you there's not you don't just need necessarily other record. Ruth Ann, good to see you. Um, you don't necessarily need other record collectors, just people who are, even like musicians or people who are in the music business somehow, or even a snooker player. It's interesting how the conversations that you end up having with these people. Like there was a there was a who the hell was it? I can't remember who it was. It was a well-known musician. I can't believe I can't remember who it is, but anyway, it's a well-known musician, and musicians don't seem to talk music with each other. They talk animals, like their dogs. He runs a like an animal sanctuary, and puts them up until they, he can find them a forever home. And I can just imagine how, you know, that must be sad. Like you get attached to a certain dog or cat, and then You gotta let them go. Obviously, you can't turn into some crazy cat lady, but it is interesting how the conversation is not always about records or music, and
Yeah, it's like with
it's
the people I work with, we don't talk about work all the time.
yeah, right,
Yeah, sometimes we
yeah,
talk about other stuffs. Yeah.
yeah. Um, when and I'm sure you probably have this figured out, but so have you been to a record fair or gone um digging with Stunty before?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Yeah.
Wait, he I've never seen someone be able to go through a creative records so quick. I
Yeah.
mean, he he like went way, because I tend to go from the front to the back, and
Yeah.
you get the movement down, and
Yeah.
all you really need to see is the top, you know, speck of it, and then but he goes from like the back and
Yeah, I
does
know.
this
Yeah.
weird thing, and I'd like to know how to do it because it seems like it saves a lot of time.
Yeah, some dude made a video about that. Michael 45, I think he
Oh,
made a.
that's right. That's
He's
right.
like
He did.
following Stundy, was like running with his suitcase and like
He had
flipping.
and he lost Stunty because
Yeah.
Stunty took off. Like, oh, that
Yeah.
was. I remember that one.
Yeah.
That was good.
No,
Oh my god.
I won't be digging with Stunny. We will meet. Maybe we share a drink
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
evening afterwards. But
yeah,
during the fair, he will be dedicated to his stuff, and I will be on mine.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
How have things been going with the channel? I've been so out of the VC loop for a bit.
oh, I have nothing to complain. It's not
Yeah.
like I'm. It's I never. I think I never said in any of my videos. Please like, please join, please subscribe. Never. I hope people like it. I say always I hope you like it because if you dedicated 5 minutes of your time and it's like
Yeah.
what's the crap. So I hope people like the comment and yeah, I expect people have a living comment. Then we can interact, exchange. it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fun.
Totally.
But no, I'm pretty happy. I made a video about psych albums, rare or obscure, or that should get more attention in my book. And I made that video like very quick, last minutes. Didn't me with not too much thoughts,
Yeah.
and don't know what happened. It gets like 4,000 views. People where it's like I was like
Yeah. That's
really
nice.
impressed, and it wasn't like really planned, scheduled. Just made that video 2 hours before joining a stream with Fred Big Star 1000,
Yeah.
and it was like really wow. I was shocked. How much success did I get for this one? But yeah,
Yeah.
can, yeah,
It's kind of crazy how the the videos that people put the least effort into and just figure, I should talk about this, ends up getting those ridiculous amount of views.
yeah.
Like when George and I did that our 24-hour stream, there were
I was
like
there. I was there. I was
yeah,
there.
oh, I
Yeah,
know. Like when it was over, we didn't know that you had to break it up into two 12-hour sections because apparently YouTube says screw you after 12 hours. So none of it was documented except for what maybe Davey Strange Name might have grabbed. But um we had like at the end of that 24 hours, there was almost there was like a little over 6,000 people had viewed it. And I mean, I know that was probably this a lot of the same people checking in, and I bet they were checking to see if either one of us had had a heart attack, or if the ambulance was there, or
Yeah.
You know, if we had fallen asleep and were snoring on screen, because you know, obviously, you know, you you get to an age where you can't exactly use things to stay awake because you're worried of what will happen to your heart.
Yep.
So
It
it's
was a
just,
great moment in the history of YouTube vinyl community. Definitely.
yeah, it was
Oh yeah.
definitely fun. It
Yeah.
was definitely fun.
Do you have
And
contact with George?
oh yeah,
Is
yeah,
he
yeah.
okay?
No,
Yeah.
George is fine. Yeah, yeah. He
Okay, it's
he
fine.
just he got he took a new job. Ah, there's Chance. Hey man. Um he took a new job, and he had to relocate for his new job, and he's got a beautiful new apartment.
Okay.
And yeah, but like he was on Westman's show last night, and
Yeah.
I missed it, but I saw that, you know, I still got to watch it, because
Yeah.
you know, I've talked to George maybe two or three times in the last like 2 weeks, and I usually, you know, we usually talk like every other day, so I got to call him and catch up. And but then again, we're both seeing new ladies, so
Oh,
you know, a lot of time goes into, you
yeah.
know, hanging out with, you know, your new lady friend.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for him.
Yeah, yeah, it seemed to happen at the same time.
Yeah.
And this was a I won't get into it. I won't.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
No, no,
Yeah.
I I I I had seen this girl at my friends' parties, like um you know, over the past couple of years, and I was like, who is this girl, and what is she about? I just assumed a girl like this would be, you know, married or have a boyfriend. And I started talking to her, and I was like, you don't have, you're not married, no boyfriend, no nothing. Well, let's hang out. So it
Yeah.
you know, we started hanging out, and now I talk to her a lot, and it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to today's topic.
Hey,
Y-
Sean.
yeah, when you were on probably on tour in Europe, did you have a chance to go to Utrecht? Back in the days, was not in Den Bosch. Was this in this other city in the big
N-
fair? In the
n-
Netherlands.
no, I didn't. I here's a, like, here's a bunch of my, like, tons of
Yeah.
my passes from the tours.
Yeah.
But I used to carry. Oh, and I was going to mention this earlier. You know those, like, those SKB makes them. They're DJ record carrying cases.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
used to always bring those on tour, because I'm not about to throw a bunch of records in the back of, you know, a trailer, or, you know, whether
Yes.
you're in a
A
van
bag
or a
or a
bus,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not, you know, you got to worry about temperature and stuff. But and then you end up filling one of those up, and then I end up, like, you know, you start sending yourself mail, and you get home and you're like, oh my God, I spent way too much money, because you think, geez, but then you got to take into, is this going to be a carry on? Because I'd rather just like let, you know, another bag of whatever go, you know,
Mm.
be what's the word? You know, checked it in, and keep the records with me as a carry on. But um those SKB carrying cases, you know, the DJ ones, those are great. And especially the get a little cart with the wheels on it, and a couple of
Yeah.
those, and
Mm.
you're set for, they hold at least, I'd say, 40 records per each of them. So I mean, that's a lot of records, but not when you're out for months at a time, and checking. It's the first thing you do when you pull into town is, where are the record stores?
Yeah,
Where,
exactly.
you know?
And it's a great accident if at the same time there is a record show which is
Yeah, oh yeah,
organized. Yeah,
yeah,
which doesn't happen all the time because it's you have to be exactly on that same. You
right,
have to. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Um, but the Den Bosch thing, God, I would um, love to go with you guys sometime, because
yeah,
I know a lot of people who I'd like to meet in person anyway. I mean,
yeah.
I've talked to Stunty for like 5 years, but I've never met him. You
Mm,
can't imagine it would be that much different. But you make a lot of good friends
yeah,
through the vinyl community. Or
yeah. You're right. And they were this small, well, much more smaller compared to Den Bosch record show
oh
over
yeah,
here in Montreal about 3 weeks ago. And another guy who lives in Montreal as well. He has a VC channel, the Vinyl Montreal Vinyl Lounge. And he said, "Hey, you know what? We should try something next year. We should invite our VC friends over that weekend when because it's like always on middle October
yeah,
something. So yeah, well, think about that for next year. Probably hosting a VC meetup in Montreal when a record show is organized. So
yeah. I
yeah,
mean, that I could possibly do, especially if I mean, how far is Montreal from, like, uh Burlington?
1 hour and 30 minutes.
All right, so it would be a
Yeah,
7-hour drive for
yeah.
me max.
Usually gets to get to the border. It's usually like 1 hour. Then depending upon the line, the traffic. Yeah, less
Oh,
than
no,
two.
I'm thinking from, like, Massachusetts up to Burlington is
Oh,
approximately 5 hours.
hey,
So if
Boston, Montreal is 5 hours.
you're right,
Yeah.
yeah. So if you add another hour and a half or two
Mm.
hours, it would take a total of 7 to get up to Montreal. So I mean, and that's worth it to spend a weekend with record friends,
Yeah.
and go digging with them, and I'm sure find a lot of records you didn't even know you needed or wanted, but when you see certain records, you're
Yeah.
like, I can't leave this behind.
And as I say, as Ruth say, October is great because weather
Yeah,
is still nice. It's
yep,
not like summer vacation.
yeah,
And yeah, we were really lucky. We had a great Indian summer over here, like you do, like you
yeah. The
probably.
summer wasn't that brutal here.
Yeah, but I mean the September and up until last, yeah, the end of October was perfect, perfect, perfect. Not
Yeah,
too hot, not too cold.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I hate the heat. It
yeah,
I mean,
y- yeah,
it it's almost like, it makes you almost feel sick when you walk into, like, it's like it makes you walk slow, and you just, like, you're sweating just sitting
mm.
there. It's
Yeah.
like, ugh.
Especially in the East Coast. That's something pretty new for me as a French guy. Now it's like the third summer,
Yeah.
but the first summer experience over here is like wow because of the humidex, the humidity.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah. It can be awful.
yeah,
There was, on one of the first tours I ever did in my late teens, early 20s, um, was a like an East Coast and as far as Chicago, uh, you know, tour. It
yeah,
was like a month long or so, but our the van that we had bought was a 15 passenger van. We had bought a trailer for it, for the gear, and uh, the by the time we got south enough, the air conditioning said, "Nope, I'm not gonna help you out anymore, dude." Getting into like Miami, like in July,
Oh
I don't
dear.
know how anyone even lives, let alone functions there in that heat.
Yeah.
My God,
Yeah.
that was brutal. I mean, we're like, like just pouring water on yourself in the van, and then we started. This is kind of funny. Maybe you don't want to hear this, but we started, pouring like rubbing alcohol on yourself because it evaporates so
Yeah.
quickly, and you get like maybe a minute or two of relief, and that we put them in spray bottles and start,
Yeah.
and but I ran out of isopropyl alcohol once. I was like, this is awful. So I used whiskey and started pouring the whiskey on me, and it worked. I mean, the other
Yeah.
guys were mad I was wasting the whiskey. I was like, I'll buy another bottle of whiskey for you, pigs.
Yeah. I'm a
But
90s kid. I experienced traveling with my parents from France to Spain, all the way down to Spain,
yeah.
in an old 88 Volkswagen station wagon without any air conditioning, being stuck in the traffic jam because they were France is always on strike. So yeah, I know.
Yeah. Oh
Lovely
my
memories.
God.
Yeah. Sean has a great question. What's your number one? So he's asking the question for maybe myself or people. And yeah, I saw a guy in the chat. Vinyl Stockholm. I you count. Okay. Okay, no worries. I was asking if he can join us. Um, Number one. Yeah, as I said, I do have several krautrock stuff. It's pretty hard to find over here. Um, Obscure band from from Germany, krautrock, a la Anyone's Daughter, stuff like that. I won't be won't be telling, but yeah, certainly some or heavy blues psych band from the UK, late '60s. I still don't have a copy of, and yeah,
Like who are there? Uh, like, do you have all like John Mayall's records and stuff? The
yeah, those I have, but
Yeah.
I mean, much more obscure bands, like for
Okay. Yeah.
instance,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I do have that. Like this is heavy blues, psych rock,
Oh,
freedom. This is
I've
a
never
late.
seen that cover.
Yeah, this is. There were two ex members from Procol Harum, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
typically the hard blues, psych, as we
Yeah.
love. Yeah, so stuff like that.
A couple
Maybleeds.
Procol Harums
Yeah,
right here,
Grunt Hotel. Yeah, yeah.
and there's another one somewhere in here. And the were you a fan of Fleetwood Mac before
Yeah,
they
Peter Green
became like
era.
a pop
Peter Green
band?
era. Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
So I'm sure you have this.
I don't have a copy of that, but I know this this one. Yeah.
Um, I'm sure I know I have two copies of this that I'd gladly send one to you.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, you get in touch with me on email,
Sure, sure,
and
sure.
I'll gladly send one up. And but yeah, I'll have to find some other ones too to make it worth it. And there's, you know what? This is weird. I had never seen a you know how in the UK, like Hendrix was on Track Records, and in the US he was on Reprise, I want to say.
Yep, yep.
um and so Track Records, I thought that was just a UK thing, but then I came across it's a Pete Townsend record, and I saw the track, logo on it there,
Yeah.
and then it says, what does it say? It says basically made in the U.S. So
Okay.
I didn't. I don't know what this is about because I thought track records were,
Yeah,
specifically.
it's interesting. A good friend of mine, he has the original UK Electric Ladyland on Tracks record,
Yeah.
but he also has another UK releases on the Polydor label, the red label, and he told me that's a UK one. So I have to trust
Oh
him.
yeah, yeah. The Polydor ones.
Polydor, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um, these were these are actually some of these like this. I don't know if you ever listened to them. Tangerine Dream.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a record I had the cassette of when I was in junior high. I mean, this album came out in like 75, 76, around there. Um, but I always liked these guys, and I had the cassette, and I got a, like, if you run out of cardboard stiffeners to send records, you can always just use old records you don't really care for to, for
Yeah.
shipping records. And
I,
this
I,
is one of the ones that I got. And I was like, wow, this is a record I'm glad to have now.
yeah, I bought that record last May when I was in Germany. So mine is a German, is a Deutsch German pressing. I have to find this one. This one is not far.
Oh, this is a French pressing, actually.
Oh, on Virgin. Yeah,
Yeah.
the UK German band, anyone everyone knows, but uh
A lot of the French plates were used the UK plates. Um,
yeah,
this is interesting. It says mono dash stereo. So,
so that's the one I bought in Freiburg,
oh, cool.
and so German press. I paid about $20 US, and that's the
Oh
label.
yeah, isn't that label's great, huh?
Yeah, that's the German label. And the year prior, I took my trip to the UK, and I bought this one,
Oh,
Phaedra. Yeah,
nice. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I
sa-
had that on
same
cassette
band.
too.
So, and that's the UK press, and the label is the design is a little bit different.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But it's got those two kind of Siamese,
yeah,
girls on it.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think you can really ever go wrong by putting scantily clad women on
And those label, those
a
are the,
label.
the typical Virgin label. You could find on the Hatfield on the North, Canterbury, stuff
Yep.
scene, Prague, mid
Yeah.
'70s. Robert Wyatt, and
What is this? Oh, this is a gatefold. Oh, I didn't know that.
oh,
Never
it's a
open it
gatefold.
up.
Yeah, the German.
Yeah, this I didn't. Oh, I didn't know this was a gatefold. This is cool. And for gatefolds are, I mean, I don't know how you like. Do you store your records behind the cover so you can get at them easier than having to take the,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Um, and I always I like I enjoy having a the gatefold because I don't know, maybe it's one of those little nitpicky vinyl collector things that you have the record right in the middle and you can just I don't know.
Oh, and something for you. Uh, I need to find. What's he got?
Oh, you know what I also have? I think I still have it. If I do, I'll add it in with the Fleetwood Mac one. Is the I have a best of Fleetwood Mac, a UK press, um, from 1971. So this is before they got Peter Green, was
Yeah, yeah.
still playing with them and. Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, they made a. I'm not sure if it has been released on vinyl, but just before COVID came along, they made a tribute concert in London for Peter Green, and he actually intended that gig.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was 2020. Um, After COVID came along, he passed away, but yeah, a bunch of artists, yeah, played in homage,
Yeah, yeah.
Peter Green era, and I'm not
Did
sure
he
if the
play it all, or was he
no, no, no,
just
no, no. It was just there in the in the room somewhere.
um? That's that's like I'm sure you saw Shane McGowan's like 60 something's birthday. Um, where it seems to be in this it's in a venue where a lot of people are playing like Pogues and songs from the Nips or Nipple Erectors, and you can tell that it really it moved the guy, and he wasn't he I don't think he was alive that much longer, but it was good to see him get the that recognition he deserved, because I mean it's too bad when an artist like that gets pigeonholed into like some like loser junkie and like no, there's way more to this person than being a junkie. And that always kind of upsets me when they a great artist or a band is basically boiled down to what they did wrong, not what they created.
Yeah,
And you know that separating the art from the artist thing, you got to do it sometimes.
yeah. When we know too much about what he made,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, I'm not sure if you're still into this kind of stuff right now. This is a local band. A new release is from Montreal, and it's a project sup- yeah, I'm supporting this project called Dumai Dunai, and it's a very interesting. It's a Slavic punk with some dub influence and some oh, you disappear. Hello, we have some technical issues. No worries. Yeah, as I said, it's yeah, I wanted to talk about that with Nick, since as it happens, I found a version on YouTube of his project. Nick was part of a band in the 90s, and it reminds me a bit by listening to these guys. As I say, it's very interesting. The singer, she comes from Ukraine, and the band leader Eli, he had spent some times. They were all born in Montreal. Those are English speaking people, but they had some Slavic roots, some Irish roots, and it's interesting. Yeah, they grew up listening to techno music, Eminem, and it's like back to the tracks, back to the roots. So he spent quite of times in Hungary, and what they managed to create is incorporating all this influence, Slavic, Balkanic influence with with dub, punk. Yeah, it's worth a detour. Dumai, Dumai. It's a band I gotta see them live probably 4 times since I moved to here. They usually just play in some small venues, summer festivals here in Montreal, in the park outside. So available on Bandcamp. I'm not trying to sell it, but I just get it for a good friend of mine who Charles, who introduced me with so many bands. He was offered. It's funny. He doesn't have a turntable, so he gave me that one. And but I really like. Oh,
Hey, I'm sorry, dude. I got a
don't
phone call, and
don't
whenever a
worry.
phone call comes in on this, it kicks me off.
Yeah, no worries. So as I said, this band, local project, Slavic dub punk from Montreal, and
Wasn't there? Who's the Slavic dude that had a punk band that um he was also in movies. He was in the movie Risk Cutters, I want to say, with Tom Waits. Um,
doesn't ring a bell.
um, he's there's a song they do called Purple Sink something Purple. Somebody in the chat's got to know.
Yeah, and it,
Oh,
and as it happens, when I was doing some stuff when we were doing the live stream, I found a version on YouTube of your album that came out in '98,
oh,
and it
really?
remind me a bit. It remind me a bit because it's as I said, it's the singer comes from Ukraine. The band leader has spent some times in Hungary, so are trying to incorporating those Slavic element with the punk dub stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I so you found the Big Lick Hills Are Alive
yeah,
album, huh?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
that that came out when
98, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And our first EP came we put out in like 94. So I was like 18, half the horn players were like 14 and 15 years old. But that band we played for about 8 or 9 years and did a lot of touring, and then people just got tired of it and wanted to settle down, have families. And by that time, like, at the beginning of it, all their girlfriends were saying, come on, you gotta put this music thing behind you. And by the time we finally broke up, all the wives and girlfriends were saying, no, you can't stop doing this. This
yeah,
is, 'cause we started to have a little bit of success. But yeah, I would be curious as to what would have happened if we had kept playing. Like, I'm not, I mean, like, as far as like, because there's certain members of a band you just cannot replace. And, most of the band was like that. Like, if one of them wasn't there, we can't do it without them.
yeah.
And but the album I played on another one in, I want to say, 2011, 2012. That's the band that I um, was with for about 4 years, I think. The Big D and the Kids Stable, and that's the band I got to. I think I told you I was, fortunate enough to see, a lot of the world for playing playing guitar, which I would have been doing anyway. So it was it
But
was
that
a great it was a great experience.
but that's
But
a question. That's a question. Lots of bands are asking when when they were like amateur playing in the basement. How if we had kept kept on? Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, the whole thing, the music business has changed so much, and like, when a band, asks, like, like a newer band, like, so how did you blah blah this or whatever? It's like, you have the internet. Like, we did not have the internet. So I mean, we had to, like, put together, like, uh press kits, send out thousands of press kits throughout the US to radio stations, to clubs, to, to all these places. And there were not even cell phones yet. So you'd roll into town, and you'd wonder, I wonder how far lost we are from the venue. And you usually call the venue, and the sound guy would come say, all right, follow me.
wow,
And
yeah, yeah,
but yeah, those were different times. I think Stunty also was part of the, he was playing music at that time too. So
yeah,
the pre-internet thing and the post-internet, um
yeah. He left
the way.
2015 something. He left last project he was involved in. So 2015 was a little bit different.
Oh yeah, Scudge
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah, Scotch. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I've heard, like, have you seen the amount of work that they released, like on Discogs or something? It,
uh,
it it's nuts, the amount of, um the amount of, I mean, I assume they were probably just files too, a lot of them. um but they they did a ton of music. And even though it was, two totally different musical styles, we that doesn't mean you're not still, living a very similar life of, it's almost like a traveling gypsy. You're going around and trying to sell your wares to the townsfolk.
yeah.
But do you play an instrument?
I used to play piano when I was kid. I took piano lessons. Gave up at
How
the
long
age of
did you
12.
play for?
From the age of 7 up until the age of 11. And then I took guitar lessons at the age of 29. I paid for lessons. Yeah, my teacher was a young guy, and yeah, 6 month for 6 months I paid like lessons like every week. But I gave up after that because I'm not any. I don't have any specific talent, and I was
Well,
like very.
I think
Yeah,
it also depends on what the teacher is teaching you to do. I mean, if you're just learning how to read, like,
yeah,
like the high E and B strings, so you're reading
yeah.
music just bang, dang, 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 that kills the
No,
want or desire.
yeah, no, it wasn't like that. Probably when my yeah, during my piano kids experience, it was that. Since me and my sister, we were forced by our mother to attend some yeah, some lessons. And yeah, it was horrible because I didn't want to play piano. And the first year we were with in the UK, they use the word posh
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
We were with posh kids in the first year attending theory of music,
Yeah.
learning the theory.
Yeah.
And I was 6 years old or 7 years old at primary school. I was more into soccer, all the kind of stuff. I didn't want to spend the. We had off on Wednesday in France back in days,
Mm-hmm.
and my friends play video games, playing soccer, and I was had to go there. And after that, I played piano, and yeah, I didn't like that because
I'm that a sure way to get a kid uninterested in music is to start teaching a 6 or 7 year old music theory like that.
yeah,
That music
and
theory, like I didn't learn until like it, probably my 30s, and I took 2 years, 3 years, and um just said, okay, I'm gonna learn this. I had maybe a two teachers that gave me a couple lessons. It just didn't work, and
yeah,
um so
no,
I just use these certain books, and
yeah,
um they really
no,
helped me. But the music theory thing,
yeah, it's
once you learn it and it's up there, you just kind of forget it, but it's always there if you need it
yeah,
for
yeah,
something.
yeah, the theory and my teacher was an old guy. It was like
Yeah.
94, so a couple of years after the curtain wall. So they
Hmm.
hired some in that school, musical school. They hired some teacher from Poland, and my teacher was from Poland, and he taught me how to play Chopin, classical stuff. Ah, dear, nightmare. At the age of 29, situation was different, way different. I don't know. I stopped in the store. I bought a cheap guitar, a used guitar, folk Yamaha. I
Yeah.
didn't pay 80 dollars for that. And yeah, I wanted to play Stairway to Heaven. And
Yeah.
I managed to play that with that band. And
Nice.
yeah,
It
but
starts on the A minor, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
dun, dun, yeah. And
Um,
yeah, but after 6 months, as I said, during the first 6 months, I was like very serious. I took lessons and I practiced. But yeah, I was 29. I just bought a house and just changed the job. So I didn't have enough time, and all of a sudden I gave up stupidly. Yeah,
well, I mean, it's not it's not for everyone. I think if I think you also, like, if you're learning how to play an instrument at the same time that a lot of your like your musical identity that you carry for the rest of your life, you're pretty much like learning their songs like that. That's how I learned to play guitar, was learning to play other people's music.
yeah.
um and I
No,
think that if it wasn't around that time period, I'm not sure I would have done it
yeah,
anyway.
but my teacher, he was the guitar teacher. He was I was 29, almost 30 years old, and he was 25. A
Oh,
young guy, very into
yeah.
punk rock. But even if he was into punk rock, he was asking, "Hey, what do you listen to?" And by that time, I was like more into classic rock type of stuff. So, but he was like listening to, okay, we will try this. I was talking about Thin Lizzy, the dun-dun-dun,
Yeah, yeah,
dun-dun-dun,
yeah.
dun-dun-dun. It's okay, good one. We will practice, the power chords and all that stuff. And Perfect Day, Lou Reed, and
That's such a great song.
yeah, Sweet Home Alabama, and
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Brown, brown, brown.
yeah, and the Fear of the Dark, Iron Maiden. That's
Oh yeah, yeah. The dun 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 dun
yeah.
dun. You gotta learn the
Dun-dun-dun-dun,
galloping.
dun-dun-dun-dun. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
and
Those
introduced
are
me with with that band from the, this one. I had no clue. That's how I discovered this band.
oh, Brian Johnstown
Yeah,
Massacre. Okay.
he told me how to play the intro of Hide and Seek.
Okay. Yeah.
Hide and
Yeah.
Seek, and
Yeah.
this is why I knew the band because yeah, I learned how to play that, and
That's a great album. I used to have a copy
it's a
of that.
comp. It's a comp. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
originally released on CD 2005, and this is the 2014 released on vinyl, double 4 discs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian Johnston Massacre.
Um have you seen the movie, the documentary where it's Brian Jonestown Massacre and the Dandy Warhols, where even though they were friends of each other, they still, there was this competition thing that kept the other one going, you know?
No,
It's a really interesting documentary because, I mean, you're just waiting for the whole thing to just for the wheels to fall off the entire time. You're like, 'cause you, it's like, it, I, it's worth watching. Absolutely.
okay.
Um,
Thanks for the tips. I no idea. Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
No late.
you'd be able to find it easily if you just put in Brian Jones, documentary.
Yeah, yeah. I watch quite a lots of documentary. I really like the British television, the BBC. They are a great documentary available on YouTube. Um, Folk. They had a series called Folk Britannia,
Hmm.
and I just took part on a live stream with Big Star. Where is Big Star? Yeah, hey Big Star 1000.
Yeah,
Our buddy Fred, and yeah, we were invited and on a French live stream talking about new wave synth pop. So yeah, I was like watching a lot of documentaries.
yeah. I've seen you do live streams with Fred. It's
Yeah,
the
we now have this Sunday. This is with Stundy and Fred.
yeah,
We do this every Sunday morning for myself, in French. And yeah, I Fred hosted a live stream on his channel about 1 month ago, and I took part. I was a guest.
yeah.
Was a cool experience as well. And yeah, we saw lots of people. It's funny. The French they follow on the English speaking channel, and some people from the America, or they try to watch when we speak French. They try to follow us. It's funny. Yeah, goes international. Yeah.
It's, isn't it interesting how it, even if you don't care for the band or their music, a documentary about just about anyone is interesting. And I'll watch a documentary about any band, even bands I don't like, because it's, there's always parallels,
Yeah.
between.
Oh yeah. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. When I was kid, I had no internet, so my father brought two CDs. And when I was 14, one was the greatest hit of Deep Purple, and remasters the double Led Zeppelin album. And I made some research, and from Deep Purple, got me to Rainbow to Dio, and then to all the projects he was involved in. Dio,
Yeah.
Brian James Dio, and try to tie or to do the genealogic tree, to do some connections with the bands.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dio's family tree runs deep. Like
yeah,
he was even doing uh, like almost like doo-wop stuff in the,
yeah, yeah.
like
He was,
you'd see him like with a pompadour kind of.
yeah, yeah. He was born in 46, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when he was doing his Dio Holy Diver, he was 40 years old. Oh, Yeah,
Oh wow, yeah, I
yeah,
didn't even
yeah,
think of. Damn.
yeah. It started in a band called not for probably not on one of these very first band he was into, but a band called Elf.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Very
The
bizarre.
cover of that Elf album is,
Elf.
there's something
Yeah,
funny about it, but it's also creepy as hell.
yeah. Exactly. And he was always joking about himself. He made one after a concert, signing autographs to some people, and one guy say, "Hey, I have an Elf record," and he said, "Yeah, don't tell it to anyone." Probably something he wasn't really proud of. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard Elf, but I know the cover very well. Who is that on the cover? Is that him?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because he wasn't like very tall, so
Right, right, right.
calling the band Elf was
Right.
probably yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah, no, 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 yeah, maybe 5 foot tall feet foot. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, well, Prince was like 5'4",
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and he, you know, I watched recently his that uh that show, that performance he did at the I want to say it was a Super Bowl, and there's like this one part where he's playing Purple Rain, and this like huge sheet thing comes up, and the way they light him from the back, you can just see his outline playing the solo I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yeah,
It's such an epic, musical, part part of musical history.
yeah,
And I mean, I love Prince.
yeah.
I don't have.
I grew up in the '90s with not the favorite era of Prince's career. Probably this is when he got to change his name.
Oh yeah,
And when I look back, I remember, Prince, Michael Jackson, Madonna, and this
yeah,
is not the music. So I probably kept it aside.
right.
But some weeks ago, I just stumbled upon the playlist, and I got me to listen to again the song when doves cry, and I say, "Whoa,
Oh yeah,
it's brilliant!
it really is.
It's
Have you noticed
brilliant!"
there's no bass whatsoever on that song?
Yeah, you play. Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't think there. I think he left bass off like a bunch of his songs,
yeah,
and for other songs he would layer like different instruments, like a keyboard, a bass, a guitar, like tuned just so he could do like a couple notes that people would try to figure out how he got that tone, and there's no way they could figure it out because he had like, it was like five different instruments,
yeah.
just stacked on top of each other. He was brilliant. You know, I miss him, and you got not to get into any kind of conspiracy theories, but a lot of these artists are worth more to the labels dead than they are alive. Um, so I mean,
Yeah,
you gotta want. I mean, just too many weird things, line up with.
Hendrix when when
Yeah.
when he passed away, someone's from his entourage say, "Hey, okay, they managed to kill him because he didn't drink wine, and he drank wine that night he passed away, and
I
yeah,
think he took some sleeping pills and drank
yeah,
wine, but that
yeah,
would make you sleep. Not, but he was in a tub, so he fell asleep in
yeah,
the what. But still, things like that are sketchy. If I felt myself getting that fucked up in a tub, I'd hope that I'd have enough presence of mind to get out of the water. But I don't know. When you're high,
yeah.
you do weird things. But yeah, I mean, he's another one. I don't think he died naturally. I
No, I'm not
think,
sure. No,
and like Cobain, like there's no way that Love Courtney wasn't involved in that. I mean, she's a evil, ugh, gross person. And everyone, related to the case ended up dying too. I
Mm.
mean, look like the bass player from Hole who got clean, came back and just had to pick up some stuff at her apartment, and they found her OD'd the next morning. But I guess she had been talking to Kurt, and I guess Courtney didn't like that. So, I mean, could you imagine like what kind of a sick fucking nut, like, narcissistic, like godless heathen you've got to be to murder, not let alone murder someone, but somebody like, I don't know, that's just fucked up. And a lot of these musicians, like the 27 Club, there,
Yeah,
it's just, there's too many coincidences. And I don't know, like I guess, you know even like Janis Joplin, her, I guess she was with a woman for a lot of those years. And the woman that she was with, I saw an interview with her from a few years ago that said, she absolutely, it was not an overdose, because again, they're worth more dead than they are alive. I mean, look at what happens to all these, these hip hop artists. They're young hip hop artists.
yeah,
And I don't know. I mean, obviously the drugs have gotten weirder and more sinister too. With the fentanyl and shit. And you just, I don't know. I don't know. But it's too bad, we lost people like that. And you got to wonder, like, what would their musical legacy have been uh if they had lived.
yeah,
um but they didn't. So,
yeah.
I mean,
Yes, but when you take a look back at the '60s, they didn't have the benefit of the hindsight. They just, with all the counterculture, Tommy Leary, what he was
Timothy
experimenting with,
Leary, yeah, yeah,
Timothy
yeah,
Leary was
yeah.
experimenting.
Tune
They didn't
in.
have any benefit. Yeah, of the what was happening was the zeitgeist.
Yeah, yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
they didn't know. Yeah,
um, even the. Are you a Dead fan?
no.
No. Um, I mean, I love them. I always have. But and that was hey, Marius, good to see you, man. Uh, Marius, I just took a screenshot of that. I'll do my best too.
Marius, will you be in Den Bosch? I think you will. You'll make the trip.
Um, Marius recently, he sent me I I don't mean to embarrass you, man, but he, you know, he knows my love for, tube gear and, tube equipment. And he had an old, like a from mid 60s, an H Scott, amplifier. and he wasn't using it, and he sent it my way. And I have, because there's different sections to it. There's like the power amp section, the preamp section, the phono section. So I separated them all, and I worked on one part at a time. And so far I have the power amp and the preamp section, and I finally added in the phono pre section, which is it is so good for a, because it's an all tube circuit anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Okay.
it's all tubes from even tube rectified. I mean, I know that doesn't probably mean much, but most rectification, that's just something that in the power supply to take the voltage out of the wall is alternating current, and when you rectify it, it switches it to direct current, which is what you use in
Yeah.
the amplifiers.
It's like
um
it's like a power supply for a computer. It does exactly the same.
oh, yeah, it's like one of those little bricks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those, yep, exactly, totally. And they're mostly DC comes out of the other end of those bricks. um but you can get them in still in alternating current. So you can it's surprising, what you can. Yeah, I guess it also depends on the transformer, which a transformer, and I'll drop the tech shit after this, but a transformer either steps up or steps down voltage. So if have 120 volts AC coming out of your wall, like we do in North America, um, you want to the transformer, the power transformer, converts that up to five
20.
600 volts in a
Yeah.
lot of but like that's the limit. Like I refuse to work on anything over 600 volts. And like some of those like the single amplifiers with those huge tubes in them, they're like 845s, 211s, 805s. Like those require like over 1,000 volts on the plate. So they basically, you got to put like 1,200 volts into one of those to get it to do what you want it to do. And I don't know too many techs that are willing to, one slip up and you're dead. I mean, and I not
Yeah.
looking
600.
to die at work.
Yeah. 600 volts is a. My neighbor he just got an accident this summer. Yeah. Because of a malfunction or a wrong check, whatever, and yeah, was
Yeah.
just below the critical threshold,
Yep. Yeah.
and he luckily survived. But because he had to connect, was like some printing machine. I don't know exactly what he does, but
Yeah.
he was only touching the things, but with one hand, luckily,
So
and
he was grounding it, and it
yeah,
went through his
yeah,
heart, I'm sure.
yeah, exactly, yeah, and he
Um,
yeah.
that's scary, man. I mean, what did he? Was he all right? Like, or did he have to do any hospital time? Or
Yeah, yeah,
wow.
yeah. It was like, hey, he had to. So he stopped working and he went to the supervisor. He said, "Hey, I just got an electric shock." So they say, "Okay, you gotta see a doctor. You have to make sure." And he was like 1 week at home, like on the sick leave. So
Damn.
yeah,
Damn. I mean, that's scary. And even certain like old Marshall guitar amplifiers, they
yeah,
they run on they just don't sound right unless, I mean, the power transformers in them
We were
are.
talking about the 27 Club. This is how Gary
Oh
Thane.
yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah, he yeah
right, yeah.
yeah.
I like. Have you ever, like, I'm sure you've probably or maybe you haven't. Have you ever held a guitar and gotten, like, if the microphone isn't grounded correctly, or if you're in an old venue, it can, zap you. And uh DC voltage, like that's like a pit viper. It holds on, and it makes you like it's like you're stuck to the guitar, and you can't let go of it. And at the same time, it physically moves you backwards,
Okay,
and feels like somebody is slamming you in the back with like a baseball bat, like as hard, like, no, thank you. It only took two of those, and never again. Like, even talking about it, like, you know my hand goes in my back pocket when I do that stuff. And you got to probe around with a like a chopstick is what I use, because it's wooden, so it's
yeah,
non-conductive.
yeah, yeah.
um but damn, so he got hit by 600 volts.
Yeah, roughly, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But this might give you
Hey,
that.
it's getting darker over here. I will have to switch on the lights. So
Ah, it's
just
all
just
right.
come just
Look
coming back.
fine. Yeah, Marius, just run the you got to get you know what, Marius, let's start a show, and we'll get a variac, and we'll slowly raise the variac up and see who can take the most voltage. That'd be a good game. That'd put the that Hot Wings Hot Ones show to shame. Let's see how much voltage you can take without without succumbing to the Grim Reaper. That'd be good. But the like, I guess I only found this out recently. A like being electrocuted, uh means that it's gone through this, arm, through your heart and out the other side. And just being I, I don't know, just shocked, or whatever. That's if you just, like, if one hand gets it. But being electrocuted, it's much worse, and it's scary. Scary. And 110 volts, dude. If that's AC coming out of the wall, like, I mean, that ain't chump. That, that like, it's such a weird feeling. It's definitely a weird feeling. It almost tickles and hurts, and, like, I mean, imagine imagine putting, like, uh like a wiring a ton of 9-volt batteries in series or parallel, whatever, and sticking your tongue on that. Because, I mean, I still check 9-volt batteries with my tongue to see how much voltage is left in it. So has Stunty abandoned us?
Not sure. The twisted little monkey. He told me, "Yeah, I'm fine. I will be joining you." Hey, yeah, no worries.
Yeah, yeah. Forget
L-
coffee. You just electrocute yourself in the morning. How many people are watching?
19 people.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we are a small channel over here, as you know.
Uh, small, big, doesn't matter.
Yeah, but we had like 25 at a time at one point. Yeah, it's not bad. Something.
Oh, I just found out how to actually look at the the chat. Oh, it's good to see Ruth Ann out there. I haven't, you know, I set up a uh Instagram, like, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and it was specifically just so that I could speak to Stunty for free, without, because his FaceTiming wasn't working or whatever.
Okay.
And then, I mean, I'm sure you get involved in Instagram, and then you start saying, "Oh, this person, I know them." Like, follow, 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 and then this so and so's following you, and blah blah blah. And it's quite a rabbit hole. Like, are you active on like my face or
No,
um? Yeah, yeah, I haven't been on my. I have a page, but I haven't checked it in
no,
years.
I'm not a social network kind of guy. I don't have any Facebook. I don't have any Twitter, or no, it does. It call it
Yeah,
X.
I. mm,
No, no, no.
Yeah, YouTube is intrusive enough.
It is, but it's fine. It's
Oh
fine.
yeah, yeah.
When I look back at my experience, yeah, especially during the last 12 months, it's great. I met up in real life. So many so many cool people in Boston like last summer. MGK's cake party. Some people.
You were in Boston last summer.
Yep. Yeah,
Eh,
Mike. Now he lives in. He moved into Buffalo. But Mike, his channel
ugh.
called MGK Boston,
Oh
and
yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, I know him. Yeah,
very cool
you know
person.
that I'm like an hour from Boston.
Yeah, I know.
So
Yeah,
if you're ever in Massachusetts again, and you need a place to crash or even want to come hang out and listen to record, whatever, I mean, I can come
yeah,
get you or whatever.
yeah. Thank
And
you. I appreciate. Yeah, never. I've never been to Boston before, so I took the opportunity with my wife
yeah,
to visit this downtown Little Italy. We spent like one day in the old district, the harbor, uh,
yeah,
USS Constellation stuff,
yeah.
and then the next day, yeah, we went to MGK's home. He hosts a VC meetup every year, like every summer, a cake party. So we gathered like 15 other VC members in his
That's
backyard.
awesome.
It was, yeah, yeah, and yeah, met up with Alex Beer and Vinyl, Jock Vinyl Martini Jack, and Brian Robot, uh, Gambler. That's the Anthony Gambler, the 812. Yeah, so lots more. So
Yeah,
pretty
and
pretty cool. Yeah,
I would love to. I'd love to meet a
RCP.
group of VC people. I have not met a single VC person
And
like in
next
real life.
next year we will be thinking about that record show in Montreal.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Keep me.
yeah, I will.
Yeah, because if I can make it up there, I absolutely will.
Yeah,
Even if it's just for the weekend. I mean,
it's yeah,
that's 7 hour drive. That's nothing.
it's perfect. Usually takes place on a Saturday, so
Yeah,
it's perfect. And they were like 35, 40 vendors, which is okay. It's not a huge record show, but it's not a very small one. I think in Toronto, Brian from Brian Robot would correct me. There are several record shows organized throughout the year, and probably are smaller. In Montreal, there is this record show, yeah, like every October, and yeah, 40 vendors. Yeah, I was there like for 4 hours something. So it might be a good opportunity to host a VC meetup to say, hey, look, people,
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah, and then
yeah,
go to a, hopefully it lines up with a show. But then again, you gotta wonder, like, if you're there with say 6 to 10 VC people, you gotta
yeah.
wonder, like, who's looking for the same stuff I am. We're gonna have a talk beforehand.
Yeah,
And but um I've just been trying to and Stunty's found me the last couple of I I had them at one time, is the UK first pressings of the four main Pixies, albums: the Surfer Rosa,
yeah.
Doolittle,
Mm-hmm.
Trump Lamont, and Bossa Nova. And he had, or I found a copy. Oh, get this. So this is years ago. I found a copy, and it was a sealed UK copy of Surfer Rosa, and it was uh, from Acoustic Sounds. Chad's deal there, and I think it was only like 70 or $80 for a seal. I mean, this had to have been a little bit ago, because I think something like that would command a little more now. But anyway, I finally got it. I open it up, and I can see that underneath the shrink wrap, there's a price sticker on the cover. So I'm like, well, all right. Well, I know that, you know, some places, some unscrupulous places have, you know, those machines that'll wrap them. And so I called, and for the record itself, it was mint. The cover was mint, the record perfect. Um, but it was still like, I don't know, it was just kind of the principle. And I sent them a picture, and they said, oh no, well, sorry about that. I didn't. And they ended up, I forget what they give me. They gave me some, a percentage off, and whatever, a coupon for something. But that's not what I was, necessarily looking for. I just wanted to, because I'd already gotten a great deal on, and that's my favorite album ever, Surfer Rosa,
Yeah.
Pixies.
Do you have
Uh,
an OG US press to
oh
compare?
yeah, yeah.
How does it sound like when you
Um,
compare?
the the UK ones in general are seem to have a little. They're a little more like lively, maybe, and I want to say there's a little bit more punch,
Mm-hmm.
like in the, like, those low mids where the punch is. um but the original US ones are, they're okay, but they're not as good as the UK's. And they even MoFi did those four records too. And I got them as they came out. And actually, when I bought my Surfer Rose on Mobile Fidelity, this is at a time, like, the internet was still very new, or at least it was for me. And I didn't know what a MoFi was, and I was just kind of irritated that somebody wrote the name of their
Yeah.
company on top of the cover. And
Yeah.
but the MoFi ones do sound pretty good, but it's another one of those situations. Like, I don't know if you heard the like the Thriller MoFi versus the original US one. The
No.
uh, the uh the the MoFi one, it's too clean sounding, like you can hear every little detail, and like it almost, it pulls your attention away from just like bobbing your head to the music to really listening. And some albums I like doing that with, but Thriller, like that was a, I think of that as like it was like dance record. Like I used to, break dance to that when I was in fourth and fifth grade.
Yeah.
Um, but and the Pixies MoFis are kind of like that. Um, they sound good, but the UK pressings are the best to me. And the reissues that came out in, I want to say, 2014. Um, I I listened to them, and then and I compared them to the other ones, and just I ended up using them for either trades or just selling, because
Yeah.
they just sounded kind of flat and lifeless compared to an OG. Or actually, I I don't like saying OG because, and it's maybe stupid, but OG is like, that stands obviously for original gangster. And like I like how could the, I would rather just call it an original pressing. And I think a lot of people that say OG pressing of this, OG that. And I actually I thought of this because I heard Vinyl Richie talk about this once. He said, what is with this, everyone calling it OG pressings or whatever? And I was like, damn, you know what? He's totally right. He's like, that's a hip hop term that people don't even know like what it stands for. And even I'm sure people who give and receive VCLT, probably don't know what it stands for. I mean, and I didn't know what it stood for the longest time.
Yeah, me as well. I knew because context. Some people were happy because, hey, thank you, guy. He sends me a VCLT, so you know what it was meant, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You
And
know the story behind it, but I
yeah,
mean, I never would have guessed in a million fucking
yeah.
years if a gun was to my head that it stood for Vinyl Community Love
Love
Train.
Train.
What?
Yeah,
What? That that was kind of funny.
yeah. But yeah, I usually talk behind the scene with this guy, Big Star 1000,
Yeah.
and he's been active for yeah, for 15 years. I think
Oh, on
started
YouTube.
on YouTube. Yeah, it was one of the very first wave of VC. And this is what he was explaining to me, that back in the days there were no StreamYard, no live stream.
Yeah,
So
right.
the only way you could connect or respond, I think, I'm not sure if you could even reply to comments, or you could, no, you could leave a comment. It wasn't like nowadays, like you can, let's say, I love the comment. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
anyway, and they were organizing some thread, like, hey, I'm starting a thread, take five. And the only way you could be in touch with the community was to reply by tackling the same challenge. And so this was like a train. So, and yeah, there were people, yeah, he's living in Australia, in UK, in Europe. So
yeah,
saying, hey, I can source it locally, the record. I can ensure the postage fee will be the lowest as possible. This is how it all started. So it was really a community, I
yeah.
think.
I
Yeah,
I mean, even
yeah,
even the days before Discogs existed. I mean, I used to, and other. I had one other record collecting friend who I think he just kind of did it because because it was something to do with your friend. But I've been obsessed with this, since since I was young, and it hasn't gone away. Um, and he he started the. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand. Yeah, totally, Marius. It's just I don't know, if um like I personally I don't want to use uh an abbreviation or something unless I know what it means.
But
Um
we like the abbreviation in the English speaking part, especially North America.
oh yeah, and OG's it
Yeah,
sounds it also it flows off the the tongue better than original pressing,
yeah.
um but when I heard Richie mention that, I was like, oh yeah, he's right, and that always just kind of stuck with me. But yeah, Maris, I totally get it. um but damn, I was just thinking something. I've I lost my train of thought. um
Yeah, we were talking about the whole concept or the
oh
philosophy
yeah,
of,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Before Discogs, there were there was Goldmine magazine, but Goldmine used to put out these like huge, they were like 3 times thick as a phone book. And it would just it had like what I assumed was every pressing available of that particular record in it. Um, but then there were certain bands that weren't even listed in the gold mine catalogs, and the prices, like, because at this time people still didn't know, like, if a record was very common or very rare. There was no real way to find out that information. So I would have these gold mine, these thick books, like, with a ton of like post-it notes in there, and like all these, you'd highlight it and make copies of it, and then go to there was a flea market that my buddy and I used to, actually two of them that we would go to every Saturday and Sunday morning, and we would be there from the second it opened until they said, "Okay, you guys gotta leave." And some of the records I got in that place for, I mean, like, between $2 and $10 is it. That was insane. I mean, those days, I mean, I don't think they won't happen. That just won't happen again, for obvious reasons. But I think Discogs is obviously it's an amazing tool to
Tool. Yeah,
have
yeah,
for to know of pretty much every pressing that's out there.
yeah,
And if you're crazy enough to try to complete a band's vinyl discography, I mean, a couple of the bands that I've collected, everything from, it's taken me like 25 years to put it together.
yeah,
I mean, because you're looking for this record, and you're like, where the hell is it? And they always pop out up out of nowhere, like, this, like, there was a record I'd been looking for forever, and it was Black Dots by Bad Brains, and it was supposed to be. It was actually supposed to be their first record, but it got shelved, and Rock for Light ended up. Uh,
What kind of genre is that?
it's like punk, New York hardcore punk, but they also mixed in reggae
Okay.
to it. And the thing is, they like when you would go see them like in the 90s, they would do like half a set of just reggae tunes, and then the other half was um was punk hardcore stuff. And the singer, HR, I mean, besides being one of the greatest frontmen ever, the guy, eh, he it was nuts, like, but it turns out that he had a brain, like something was wrong in his brain where he needed surgery, and he married this woman who, you know that made sure that he got the care that he needed. But like if you saw them in the 90s, like it was a whole other, situation than if you caught them in, the around 2010 or so, or even 2005, because he mellowed out so much, and he just continued to seem to get crazier and crazier. And like the live shows were like what is he going to do this time? It was interesting because you never knew, was this show going to be an epic 3 hour jam, or are they going to play for 20 minutes and that's it? And I think, being a fan of them, I think, I mean, you just learn to accept that. Um, but there's a really interesting documentary on HR, called uh, Finding Joseph I. Um, and I'm not sure if it's on YouTube, but I'm not sure where you can find it anymore, but it's really, really interesting. It's like, it's one of those documentaries that, even if you don't like the band, it's interesting because it's about music. And
Yeah. Yeah.
um but the Bad Brains have been one of my top 5 favorite bands ever, since I first heard them. And you know what, that's a band that was a blind buy. I saw, I was just like a little skateboarder jerk, and around 1987 or 88, there was a full page in the back of Thrasher, the skate magazine, um, for Bad Brains Quickness, the Quickness album. And I, I saw the cover of it, and if you see the cover, you're just like, who the hell are these guys? I mean, they they look cool. They just, I mean, their expressions are cool. The song titles were cool. It was just, so I bought I think I got it on cassette first. Um, and that was one of those, like, I mean, I'm sure you must have bands that, like, the second you hear them, like you're connected to them.
Yeah, I get that feeling when I listen to In Trains from Scorpions.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
That's, yeah. I remember it was in a record store in Switzerland, and yeah, that riff, Dark Lady, that opening tracks. It shocked me because it was Scorpions, written Scorpions, and I had no idea about their early material. It's not that early material. It's their third album, yeah, 75.
Hmm.
But that second I heard it was way different than Still Loving You, Wind of Change, all that mainstream stuff
Oh yeah,
they did
their
15,
early
20
stuff
years.
sounded like blues almost stuff.
Yeah, they had Uli Roth, this German Hendrix type of person, and yeah, um,
Was he an original guitar player?
yeah, yeah.
And
Not a founding member.
okay,
They found that it was like a high school band in Hanover. They formed in '65, and they went through several lineup changes. The first album is yeah, it's something like yeah, on the Brain label.
oh,
So
I
you know
love
that,
that label though,
yeah,
that
Brain
logo.
label. Connie Plank, very spacey, very like all the German bands like the krautrock, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's a real hard rock album in trance, probably one of my favorite. And yeah, then they made a
And,
couple of albums together, and he left the band, Willie wrote, and finally they had some success. So for a lot of American, they think Scorpion started in '82 with Blackout, because this is with Blackout they had this massive success.
that's how I knew of them.
But
Yeah.
yeah, and it's still like regularly played on classic rock radio station. No One Like You and all that stuff. But I would prefer what they've done, what they did 5 years, 6, 7 years prior. Yeah, in trance and
Yeah.
killer
Yeah.
and yeah,
But
Virgin Killer. Yeah.
do you like their full catalog pretty much?
No,
Okay,
not
just
really.
mostly the early stuff.
Yeah, I grew up with their. My parents had some cassettes, so yeah, I enjoyed when I was 10 or 12 years old listening to Blackout. And yes, still loving that's love at the first thing, '84. Even as Wind of Change, yeah, it was fun. But now
Yeah.
with the experience, I got to see them live in my hometown in 2012.
Nice.
And yeah, it was certainly fun. But their career span over, yeah, 5 decades, and
It's nuts, isn't it? Like
yeah,
that a band can go on for like, I mean, you see someone like the Stones. I mean, they have been going
thank you.
solid since the like early 60s. That's insane.
Yeah,
But I guess when when that's really all you know how to do and people love that you're doing it, you might as well keep doing it. I mean, look at what happened with Hackney Diamonds. Everyone was like, "Oh, new Stones record." And then you hear it and I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was a great album. Um
yeah. I'm not a Stones fan, but I don't have any problems with Hackney Diamond. It's not a bad one. No,
yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
Now, was was the Scorpions like their first like hit that got them anywhere? Was that Rock You Like a Hurricane tune, or was that just in the US? Did they already have a following in Germany, I assume?
No, they had, as I said, they started as a not as a crowd rock band. Wouldn't say that,
Yeah.
but they had this reputation. They played actually their very first gig outside Germany in my own town, and a good friend of my father got to see them live and didn't want to see them because back in the days, uh, all the bands from Germany they were like krautrock,
Yeah.
spacey, like and
Can.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And he said, "No,
Yeah.
I want to see this German band," and he was very very surprised. And yeah, this was 73, 74 or something. Then um, Rock You Like a Hurricane was like 84 on the
Yeah.
Love at First Thing album with Still Loving You. And yeah, they had a massive hit on even in the US. They 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 had this dream to to be big in America, and but it went through several steps because due to some lineup changes, They started with Michael Schenker. They were two brothers,
Mm-hmm.
Michael Schenker,
Mm-hmm.
and Michael Schenker. He left the band. They were lining up at the airport, and he talked with a guy from UFO, and this guy from the band UFO, they hired him. So it was like a chance of his life, playing with an English band. So he joined UFO. Then UFO had some ups and downs. Then he didn't really came back as a full-time member. I think he played on the 79 Love Drive record, Coast to Coast, that instrumental. Because at the same time, they had replaced Uli Roth with Matthias Japs and another guy, a drummer. What stopped also their path is the singer. He has a health issue. He lost his voice, so he had to
Oh,
go under surgery when he couldn't speak. I think 1 year. So yeah, they made Love Drive, Animal Magne's Love Drive, or maybe on the opposite, and he had to stop. That's why 80, 80, 81, nothing happened. Uh, and yeah, they came back with Blackout, huge production, and these
yeah,
were their breakthrough for
yeah.
America. Yeah,
I mean that's kind of like their Back in Black, if you will, like
yeah, same
um
era. Yeah,
yeah. Um I mean, because I love all the Bon Scott stuff, and like I probably prefer the Bon Scott stuff a little more than the Brian Johnson
I
stuff, but um
I absolutely do. Yeah, that's the
yeah,
bane of my when I was a teen. When I was a stupid teen, 14 years old, listen to Power Age, Let There Be Rock. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah. How awesome was that when you're a young kid and you're full of
yeah,
angst anyway?
yeah, exactly. And I bought this VHS. Wasn't even a DVD, was a VHS back then.
Nice.
And it's a concert they played in Paris in '79, and it's sandwiched between interviews, and you see Bond driving a Porsche, and they open with live wire. Yeah, this is
Wow.
yeah, this is all good. Yeah, yeah. Bon Scott, yeah, pretty much the stuff I was very into when I was 14. Yeah, Bon Scott,
Yeah.
ACDC, Bon Scott's era,
Yeah.
Scorpions, Iron Maiden, the first albums, the very first. Yeah,
Did you did you prefer Diano or um I'm sorry,
Bruce Dickinson.
Dickinson? Yeah.
I like very much both the first two albums, but I prefer Dickinson. I
Yeah.
pref- because it's
They're very different
yeah, they're
singers.
very different. Yeah, he was a punk. He was more a punk kind of
Right.
yeah,
Totally.
but not punk at the beginning. If you watch
Right.
the documentary, the early years, he wanted to be punk
Yeah.
because of the ego and all that. The Kingston, but the Number of the Beast, that's the '82 album that got me to the Iron Maiden. Probably my will be my all time favorite. So probably why I and he has such a career. I read his autobiography he wrote. He had an incredible life. This guy,
Yeah.
yeah, like singer. He won like gold medals and like fencing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He's not one of those typical. I mean, he's a
No,
pilot. He
pilot. Yeah, yeah,
flies the band to their gigs, and
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
you can't do that if you're an active addict or something, or like
yeah,
Dickinson. He's held it together, and
yeah.
um,
Yeah,
you know,
this is the kind of stuff I gave up. Slayer, Megadeth. It's not my jam, but very early
okay.
'80s. Um, Saxon, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Princess of the
Stunty
Night.
loves Saxon too.
Stunty and Metal is yeah. He has a look, he has the air, just like myself. But yeah,
um, that is interesting. How like I for Iron Maiden, I only have Killers and Peace of Mind.
yep,
Um, so after Baldiano, I'm done with Iron Man. That's just me and complete different band. Yeah, 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 me too, Sean. I mean, I saw because a friend of mine is a huge Maiden fan, so I've seen them like 6 or 7 times, but obviously always with Dickinson on vocals. But recorded, I preferred Diano's. I prefer the punk over the metal thing, but there's some
yeah,
bands that like Bad Brains is a perfect example of mixing the two together, like because a lot of punk bands, I think they uh, initially started off because all you needed to know was how to play power chords and find a couple guys, and a lot of the bands like that did pretty all right for themselves. But you know, somebody like Bad Brains, or like who's some other players that are, they're part of that punk hardcore uh, scene, but they can play the hell out of their instruments. Like they're really good players. Damn, who else is there? I can't. Oh, Sick of It All. They're another one. They're excellent players. Um, love them. Uh, Obviously, I always. I mean, I think my favorite band of all time is the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
okay,
And like I they when they started out in when I first saw them, it was like 1991 or 92. Their first album had just come out, and they were just a local band at the time, and they just kept more momentum, you know, and then it's like they they knew that like the song that got them to like the mainstream. So people think of the Boss Tones, they think of, and they call it the Knock on Wood song, and it's called The Impression That I Get, and it's the song off Let's Face It, the single. But that's one of those bands that I've collected the entire vinyl discography of, and damn, did that take a long time to put together. I mean, they're like rare, um there was this 145, and it's actually it's a picture disc, and it's for this song they had called Last Dead Mouse. And no one seems to know how many of these were pressed, and I guess they only went to radio stations as a promotional thing. So I don't think they made that many of them, but if you can find one, or last I checked, they were like $300 or $400. Um, and I snagged a couple, when they were 100 or under. Um, and then there were like when their guitar player, Nate Albert, who was probably the most influential guitar player,
yeah,
for me ever. Just his whole style and his tone and everything. When he left the band, I was, it was just such a disappointment to not see them with him anymore. Um, but I still went and saw them, and the first single they came out with their new guitar player was I think it's called Desmond Decker's Doing Fine. Um, and the they had 45s of the on blue vinyl and white vinyl, and all the covers are like screen printed,
Yeah,
like by hand.
yeah,
And I think they only made 200 maybe of each color, maybe 250. Um, but last time I saw those, like one of them was going for like $350 for, I mean, but then again, the song is not available on any albums. It's only available on the single. Um, and I, when I look back, I bought one of each color at the show. And, it's one of those things you could never, there's no way you could have ever known, but it's like, why I should have gotten 10 of each of them because,
yeah,
there is certain record collections that I bought over the years, you know, most of them I'll take and put in my own collection, but for the ones that you don't really care about, stick them on Discogs and or eBay, and sometimes like a fresh new collection when it comes through, it's almost like going to the ATM. You're like, well, I'm gonna sell these records, and it's just, it's just nuts how the record collecting thing has changed over the years. And and the hi-fi audio thing too. Like when I was a kid, like a pair of speakers that cost $70,000, that was absolutely ridiculous. Just that was robbery. Now there's like speakers that are $250,000, $500,000. Like what? There's no way that they're gonna sound that much better than say a $10,000 like
yeah. It's
one.
absolutely, yeah,
And
yeah. I'm not an audiophile, and I don't follow channel. They keep speaking or talking about, and which is weird because I love the tech, talking about the tech parts, and in my job, I have to convince my client that my products are better, more reliable, blah blah blah. And so we talk about accuracy, we talk about delay, we talk about digital.
mm,
So, but when it comes to listening to records, first of all, I don't have the budget, any budget,
yeah,
and a
right.
quarter of million or 10 grand on a gear. And
Yeah.
yeah, as you say, it doesn't bring much more to the not the table, to the ears, or to the pleasure. It's not
Um
yeah.
I'm I mean I guess I fall prey to no, I don't want to say prey because I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to hear your music or your
Better.
favorite music reproduced in the best way it can
No,
possibly
no,
sound.
absolutely
Um,
no.
and
Yeah,
I've put a lot of money over the years into my system, but then that's where the DIY type of thing comes into play, because when you look in some of these amplifiers that cost $5,000, $10,000, you're like, I could build this in a weekend. And
yeah,
especially like phono preamps, like there
yeah. But
there's hmm?
you hear a difference when I started to buy a very cheap turntable, and I paid $200 for a new cartridge. I heard a difference
Oh yeah,
instantly.
yeah.
If if no one will convince me, hey, you have to buy a stupid cable that costs $500 a cable
No, yeah.
to upgrade 0.001%.
It really does get silly.
And I'm sitting in the front, and I have to convincing myself, well, I paid $500.
Yeah.
Do I hear any difference? I'm sure I hear any
You
difference.
convince yourself. It's confirmation bias.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. If I don't hear any difference, any improvement, no, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm with you, dude. I mean, there's actually a really good video out where they did a blind test with people. I don't know if you know of a Kronos turntable. They're like I want to say 200. They're probably close to $500,000, if I mean maybe 200,000 to just ridiculous money. Okay, and they A/B this with an old ARXA turntable with a standard moving magnet cartridge, and 67 or 68% of the people who listened to it, which were these quote seasoned audiophiles, preferred the old vintage turntable, the simplest turntable ever, the ARXA, with a regular cartridge on it.
yeah.
And you know, it, yeah, it's a slippery slope, and but
It's blind,
I mean,
blind test, as you said.
yeah,
Like as you say, I have a guy I work with. Is very into wine.
mm,
I think he has a membership. They gather every week. They gotta test some. Those are people like lawyer, and they have some money,
yeah,
and they are crazy about this vintage wines, whatever.
yeah.
And sometimes they don't even realize it's a great wine. You know, because
Because they what? Because they are used to it, or because they can't.
they don't see the bottle first.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes, 100%. Yeah,
They they are like not
yes,
sitting around the table with someone saying, now we will drink this, now we will drink that.
yeah.
Doesn't work like this. They spend it's like maybe they're standing up. I don't know how it works. And he said the guy who brings maybe the most expensive bottle, he won't do a speech like prior saying, hey, now we will have a great.
Yeah,
It like they let the people have a chit chat together.
right.
At one point, it's like pouring in a glass, and people don't even realize. And it's after that they say, "Hey, now we have reached the crop of the creeps." So, yeah. So people don't have the idea about, hey, now I'm about to have the experience,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it should work like this. I went to to a training to like the winery things, and
Like, did you train to become like a sommelier?
yeah, yeah, was like it was just for fun, just on
Yeah.
a Sunday afternoon. I grew up in a very winery region, so
Yes,
I,
I know that the sommelier life is like it's pretty cutthroat.
yeah, and it's interesting. We were like tasting several stuff, learning how to pour, how to tip the glass,
Yeah.
and at the point, um, she trying or he trying to explain, blah blah blah. Then we just taste, we just take some notes, and then she comes with another bottle, and she start talking about blah 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 whatever. And we once again we write some notes, and then she say, you know what? You just try the same wine
Like back to back, they
back
were
to back,
drinking
and no one realized, no one.
it.
So
Yeah,
it's all in
right.
here. It's all in
So
here.
much of it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, that's where I mean, there's certainly a difference between cartridges, but between like a moving magnet and a moving coil, like moving magnet has come so far in the technology, um and also moving iron, which is like brands like Grado and Soundsmith. And the thing is, moving iron is basically a moving magnet, but it's not sensitive at all to capacitive loading. So
Okay.
the cable, like if you run a cable from your turntable to your preamp, your phono preamp, and it has too much capacitance on it, it's going to make your it'll make your cartridge sound like more high endy and sharp. So you want to make sure the capacitance is correct. And Audio Technica cartridges are especially sensitive to that. But moving iron like Nagoka and Grado, Soundsmith, Stanton, even like the old Stantons, that because they're not, sensitive to capacitive loading, where a moving coil is not sensitive to capacitive loading either. It's sensitive to resistive loading. um and by the way, you know how um most moving magnet cartridges, it says 47K loading,
Yeah.
like that you would not even believe how much better you can get certain cartridges to sound by doing, like, by trying 22K, 36, or even 100K. Like, there 47K isn't the be all end all. And I think it's also system dependent, but you know I mean, I I have too many cartridges, and I guess I just it's one of those things you collect along with records. But I wanted to know how each one of them sounded, and how am I really going to know the difference in the sounds without actually. I mean, just listening to a YouTube clip. No, I'm going to have to listen to them on my own. Um, but I mean, yeah, the whole audio, the audio file thing. I mean, it obviously has its merits, and there are better certain capacitors that measure exactly the same as another brand's. Um, you
But
know, a say a Mundorf capacitor versus an inexpensive capacitor. Um, Both, like poly caps, that measure exactly the same in resistance, capacitance, inductance. Everything is the same. They sound different for some reason, and that's where like and the same goes for cables. There can cables can make a difference, but it's such a it's so minute that if you listen to a cable and then change it out, you can only really hear the differences when it's really A B, like right next to each other. But if you took like 10-15 minutes in between listening to it, I don't think you're really going to notice or feel like you're missing out on anything. So when I see like cables for 20, 50, $100,000, that's just people taking advantage of people who think they need this shit.
yeah,
And you
yeah, but
know,
you know how it goes when you are 50, 60 years old and you start having
yeah,
some money and you express the needs. Okay,
right.
about the market or the supplier will offer you the opportunity to spend some money.
Of course, of course.
Yeah,
But
I
and if that's what makes you happy, all more power to you. But
yeah.
I think a lot of, unfortunately, people are led blindly by unscrupulous sellers and dealers of. I mean, there's no way if like there's this dude, and I don't want to say his name, but people will probably know who I'm talking about. This dude who is only into the quote ultra high end of audio. So okay, I didn't know there was okay. So there must be the low part of it, and the mid fi, and then hi fi. But apparently, there's a whole other fucking thing called the ultra hi fi. Ultra, and it. So this dude, he puts together like millions of dollars worth of gear,
Yeah.
and and some of the amps that he bought were made by a company called Griffin. And no, I'm sorry, it wasn't that. It was maybe, I don't want to say the wrong company and and get it wrong, because a lot of these companies really do make beautiful, stuff like hand wired, really beautiful stuff. But some of them just look like a rat's nest inside. Or if you look at like the like Dan D'Agostino, like mono blocks, like yeah, they're pretty to look at, but when you look inside of them, there's nothing special. I mean, they're standard resistors, and just nothing special about it. And
Yeah,
I
it's like
just,
it's like the company Bang and Olufsen.
yes, yeah,
Bang and Olufsen, they had some fancy store in a city center in my hometown, and everyone like, wow, it must be great. And they had some, like loungy with
yeah.
couch, and but I wouldn't say it's crap, but
And well,
certainly
they used, I mean,
overrated.
they made turntables.
Yeah, and people dream about, hey, Bang and Olufsen, it must be great because they, this. Yeah, the envelope, the store was so, yeah, was so fancy. It's like walking into a Dior store or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It really can get silly. Like, I've owned a Bang and Olufsen turntable. One of the was one of their higher end models too,
Mm,
and it was just, it was it was so weird because the platter is basically flush with the plinth. So to put the record on it, like, or to pick the record up, you literally have to get your fingernails under the edges of it and pick it up. And all of their, or I think most of their tone arms were linear tracking, which means they just went straight across instead of the, like a regular tone arm. Um, and they had these P mount cartridges, and which only worked on Bang and Olufsen turntables.
yeah.
So if you have an old Bang and Olufsen turntable, the only people I know that make new cartridges for them is Soundsmith. Um, but they're super expensive too.
Yeah.
And
Obviously, yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like the. Do you remember the turntable that was in a Clockwork Orange?
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
I looked
Yeah.
into that, and that was by it. They still make it today. It's called the Michelle uh, Gyro deck, I want to say.
Yeah.
And the whole principle behind it is that you have the record is making contact with as little of the um
Platter.
platter as
Yeah.
possible. And like,
Yeah.
that goes against everything like that makes sense to me. Like, it, when I mean, I use a record weight on a direct drive turntable, because the more a record is, you know what's like,
Flattened.
just, yeah, just like the
Yeah.
tighter it is to the platter, the more the more bass response you're going to get out of it. And it's not a subtle thing. And that's why I really don't understand. There's also like platter mats that have these little stick up things. And hey, Paul. Um, and yeah, I don't understand that design because that's not how that doesn't make sense to me at least. But
Yeah,
you got to keep an open mind, I guess, for if you're in audio.
yeah.
Yeah. But
So, hey, I will be maybe we'll wrapping up. Uh,
yeah, I was gonna
it's
say the same.
we talked too, not too
Yeah.
much, but was interesting conversation. We didn't talk
Yeah,
too
yeah.
much about Den Bosch, but it's a VC live stream after all. So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Good times. And
Yeah,
thank you for allowing me on your
you're always
on your
welcome.
channel.
So hey guys, thanks for watching.
Uh Thank
Take
you
care.
everyone. Have a
Take
good
care.
night, everyone.
Have a good night. Bye bye.
See you later.